What's up you guys, Joe Dabi here, back at it again with another deck profile. This deck that I'm going to show you today is a lot of fun to play. It's not super competitive in the meta, but it does steal games from Jesmon and Gabubond and finally Lilith Loop if you are pretty lucky with your draws and you manage to actually just take off. That said, this is my purple Cresgarurumon deck for BT6 EX1 meta. And I'm just gonna dive right into it. First, I'm gonna start with the eggs. We got 1 copy of Sunamon and 4 copies of this awesome Digimon over here. Digimon pretty much once per turn when one of your other Digimon is deleted, you get plus 2k DP for the turn, and that lasts the entire turn. This is the only DP boost that you're gonna see in the deck, and it gets your Cresgarurumon to 14k, which is pretty much enough to swing over anything that isn't a Bond or an Omnimon. So you're relatively safe in the meta right now. Sunamon as well is pretty good for that draw. That one draw could get you an option that you might need to win the game, and Sunamon does play a huge role in that regard. There are some pretty good game-winning options in the deck. Diving into the rookies, we got 4 copies of the structure deck. Gabumon, I keep saying Gabumon now. Gabumon is a very good filter card. When attacking, you can trigger draw 1 and then discard 1 from your hand. So you'll be able to trash other rookies besides the Gabumon that are in the deck, because those rookies are what you're going to be digibursting out depending on the situation. So the Gabumon is really here to facilitate a number of things, which we will see as we move forward. Next, we've got 4 copies of this BT2 Gabumon. And this Gabumon is actually really good because it's just another Gabumon that offers more filter on deletion. You get to draw 2 and then trash 1 from your hand, which I think is very crucial, as well into getting more pieces. Ultimately, you want to see your crest stack as soon as you can, and being able to swing sometimes and sacrifice that level 4 or level 5 in order to get the draw 2 trash 1 is very important. So that is that. Next, we are running 2 copies of the Gazimon because Gazimon is super clutch in the meta right now. You definitely need to run Gazimon. And you can easily Digiburst Gazimon out from trash if you really need to, in order to kind of like just hinder your opponent's ability to gain memory. And last of the rookies, we're only running 12 here, so a little bit lower on the count. We're running 2 copies of Guilmon. And this is a very good facilitator of being able to unsuspend, gain memory, and take full advantage with Crest off the Digiburst. And off, the Cresgarurumon from kind of like deleting a Digimon to unsuspend Crest. So when it's deleted by an effect, you gain 1 memory. Very good card overall. Diving into the champions here, we've got 4 copies of this structure deck Garurumon, and I love this Garurumon not only because it's the black Garurumon, which I prefer, but it's also a 4 cost to hard play. So if you're bricking, you literally just slap that thing and hopefully you get into a level 5 by turn 2. The most people will do in this meta right now is drop a Tamer, have a rookie in raising. So 4 memory for turn 1 doesn't feel all too bad. When attacking, you get to filter even more. So draw 1, trash 1. Both this Garurumon and this structure deck Gabumon are not once per turn. So every time you unsuspend, you are filtering through your deck, and it is a very fun time. But that's that for this. Next, we are running 3 copies of this Garurumon. You're definitely wanting to run as many Garurumon in the name as possible. In this deck, I'm running slightly less than what you would imagine based on the card pool available, but there's a big reason for it. So your turn once per turn, when none of your other Digimon is deleted, you get to gain a memory, and sometimes that memory is all you need in order to win the game. Once again, this deck is going to be heavily reliant on that 1 memory because of the options that I have in the deck. But this Garurumon's really clutch. 5 cost to play kind of sucks. If it was 5 cost and 5k DP, it would have been fine, but because it's 4k DP, it's a little bit weaker, so I'm running less. 2 copies of Ginkakumon promote because if you don't want or don't have the ability to unsuspend Crest a single time, or 1 more time, the Digiburst will be enough to bring out a rookie, which you can actually go into promote, get rush, and swing for game with that instead. So that's where all the gain 1 memory here, gain 1 memory there starts to matter. Because if you are at 1 and you have the Crest, Digiburst into Gil, delete the Gil to unsuspend Crest off 2 checks, do another 2 checks, you have that 1 memory going to 2 off the Guilmon. You can get into promote and then swing for their last check. And then basically, if you have something in raising, you're pretty much good to go. And you can get that off very, very quickly. 2 copies of Mechanorimon. I dropped my cards. 2 copies of Mechanorimon. This meta is kind of annoying now because there's a lot of rookie rush shenanigans happening. It's really frustrating, which is why I haven't really put out a lot of content, because I just feel like any creative, innovative deck, it just gets trumped by the fact that there is a mechanism to thwart aggro and combo through Rookie Rush, and it's very infuriating that Rookie Rush is still here. But it is what it is. It's okay. We tech in order to take care of it. So 2 copies of Mechanorimon, 4 cost, blocker, and it just unsuspends every time it deletes something on your opponent's turn. So very good kind of like semi-wall there to defend yourself early, especially when you're looking for your pieces to get to Crest. All right, next we're running 4 copies of Cresgarurumon. Cresgarurumon is the bread and butter of the deck. It allows you to, when attacking once per turn, delete one of your Digimon to unsuspend this Digimon. So when you have a Guilmon out or any other Digimon out, you can actually delete them in order to unsuspend the Crest or whatever is above this Cresgarurumon as the stack. 7 costs to play is kind of unfortunate because of Joel Schwarmer, but you're staying in raising most of the time, and I'll show you why in a bit anyway, so we're good. Next, we're running 3 copies of Rebellimon. It's 1 too much Rebellimon by regular purple standards, but because I'm running 2 copies of Mechanorimon, and my secondary boss monster is the Black Metal Garurumon Digiburst, I think 3 Rebellimon is fine. In addition to that, you're gonna need blockers almost like every turn as you're building up and raising sometimes, and I wanted to run a lower level 4 blocker count, and this is just one of the ways you can prevent at least 1 more attack until you get to your piece. And Rebellimon's very strong. Treat it as a black Digimon, and when attacking, when Digivolving, if you trash a card from your hand, it gets blocker retaliation until the end of your opponent's next turn. So pretty good there, and can Digivolve off Mechanorimon. Last of the level 5s, we're running 1 copy of Black War Growlmon. The reason why I have the 1 copy is because you can't play 5 Cresgarurumon. That's plain and simple. But I did realize that when you don't have Crest yet, you can Digiburst 3 to bring out Gazimon, slow the game down, especially if your opponent is blue and they're running Hammer Sparks, or you can slow down your opponent's ability to use memory boosts until you get to your piece. But it's just another unsuspend engine for Crest, basically. Going into the level 6s here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of Cresgarurumon. So main effect, Digiburst 2, in order to play a level 3 purple Digimon card from trash without paying its cost. Super powerful card. It's 12k DP. I wish it was 3 cost, but it'd be too strong at 3 cost. So it's okay. It's got a natural security attack +1. So when you're doing the unsuspension shenanigans, you can actually get 4 checks in potentially 5, 6, if you have the right options and the right kind of like trash in play. But very good card. Very high facilitator of your win condition. Pretty much your win condition. So there you go. And 1 copy of the Black Metal Garurumon, as I had mentioned. This Digimon has reboot, so if you get it early, you can trash a card from your opponent's security via Digiburst 2 when Digivolving, or delete a Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less. In addition to that, the reboot actually helps quite a bit because it prevents your opponent from swinging over it. So if you open with this Metal Gar, you can kind of just go into the Metal Gar, get incremental checks, and then because of reboot, your opponent can't swing over it, and then you can use Crest with the Weregaru or the Black War Growl stack to delete the Metal Gar when you're ready, and then Digiburst to bring out another Digimon to use options with to unsuspend Crest further. Yeah, I kind of rambled on that, but whatever. Next, we've got 2 copies of Omnimon Zort Defeat. The Omnimon Zort Defeat actually comes super clutch in the Bond or any Tamer matchup, really. And once you've Digibursted Cresgarurumon to its full extent, it is only a 1 kind of like Digimon. No sources, nothing. It's just got Sec +1, 12k. And usually by then, you don't need the Sec +1 anymore because you've kind of taken care or wiped out their security. So if you go into Zort Defeat, you can delete their Memory Tamer, putting them to the least amount of memory possible. It also plays around Hexablamon, so Crest pretty much plays into Hexblow that nobody plays except for Nate. Shout out Nate, Ice Barrier, aka Never Spark. Let's go. So, you know, if you're facing a Hexblow at your meta, if you go into Zwart Defeat, you can pretty much just play around that in order to swing for game sometimes. The best part of this is that it destroys the Tamer from your opponent's side of the board. 2 copies of Purple Mat. Purple Mat's really good because it's a memory tamer, and you can bring back pieces that you would have needed that you may have been forced to trash at the time. So that's pretty much what he's for. Next, we've got 3 copies of Mat Ishida. This is the blue mat. So this is awesome because at the start of your turn, or your turn, when one of your Digimon with Gabumon or Garurumon in its name moves from your raising to the battle area, you gain a memory and draw a card. So this is my facilitator for Cresgarurumon. When I have a mat and one of these mats out, I am guaranteeing Cresgarurumon evolution in the battle area at 4 memory, right? So it's a very, very good card to have, especially because it turns on a lot of blue options, which changes the course of this deck entirely. Because one of the things that this deck has as a weakness is sometimes it lacks enough stopping power or finishing power, not stopping power, finishing power. Like you'll remove all of your opponent's security, but you just don't have that one thing in raising the swing game, or you don't have that one, or you just have the crest but was unable to swing game. So you can end your turn with an ice wall and just shut your opponent down entirely. In addition to that, you know, it does the whole Gabumon thing, but we don't even go through that in this deck, so it's fine. 2 copies of Demonic Disaster, which is basically a night raid in security, so you play a level 3 purple Digimon card from trash without paying its cost in security. Very good because, you know, if you don't have any more Digiverse, or if you have a Garurumon stack with the crests and you don't necessarily have enough to Digiburst, like if you bricked or whatever, or your sources were trashed, this one rookie that could come out could change the game for you in terms of being able to win. It's 1 cost, which is where it comes in very big, like the Garurumon and the mat that allows you to gain a memory when you raise a Gabu. The Guilmon, all these things really play into just saving your memory. And actually the Guilmon is amazing because you're basically using Demonic Disaster for 0 at that point to unsuspend your crest. Next, we are running 2 copies of Hammer Spark because you can. It's a good turn stopper for your opponent. Once they hit that insecurity and they're at 1, they end their turn, you know, without a memory tamer or memory Digimon. Memory lock Digimon. And it's also another way to just get crests to Evo and keep the same turn, which is what you really need in the deck, so that's good. Not running Jack Raid because I'm not trashing as much, and because I have more blue mats anyway, it should be fine. And lastly, we're running 3 copies of Ice Wall, the Super Cheese card in the current meta. So all of your opponent's Digimon pretty much gains when attacking lose 2 memory until the end of your opponent's turn. So once again, if you don't have the ability to finish for game, you can end your whole Crest OTK attack or turn by just dropping Ice Wall, putting your opponent to 1, and then just making them cry because you have 4 or 5 security, and you have potentially, depending on how many Digimon you've Digibursted, depending on how many times you've unsuspended to swing, depending on whether you have a Digimon in raising or not, all these factors can pretty much secure game for you when you put your opponent to 1, especially if you've got 5 security left or 4 security left. That could be the difference, and once again, that's where that whole 1 memory comes in. So it's just, I got a little bit unlucky at tournaments, which is why I've kind of been discouraged to share it with you guys, because I only like sharing decks that win. But, you know, at the end of the day, I took a game off Lilith Loop, took it to game 3 with a lot of pressure. Did the same thing with Jesmon. But that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like the deck, let me know in the comment section below. And let me know if you tested at your local meta and if you're willing to adjust the deck and see what you end up cooking. I'm very curious to know because I love Cresgarurumon and I like playing it. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and peace.